is In the Know for Friday, September 6th, the 250th day of 2024. There are 116 days left in the year. Good morning, MD. Guiding you through In the Know at K105. On Litchfield's Country Station, 103.9 The Moose. Live online at K105.com via the Apple and Android smartphone app. Using the SoundCloud, iTunes, or Spotify podcast. On Facebook, on YouTube, on the platform formerly known as Twitter. And the hashtag is In the Know. Coming up today, we'll update you on the latest news headlines from around the community, the county, the Commonwealth, and the country. Got a Cougar Sports Report coming up for you, plus the water cooler question. Your chance to win that and a whole lot more coming up today here on In the Know. Settling into my left, rolling Mach 9 with her hair on fire, is my beautiful wife, the beautiful girl. It's Beach. Good morning, sweetheart.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Happy Friday.
Thank you.
So I read something this morning, and it kind of goes along with the smirk that you gave me a moment ago. If you want to be closer to your mate, tell a joke. There's no pressure. It doesn't have to be a one. Maybe you both love a good dad joke, or a filthy, inappropriate language is more your style, or you have inside jokes that always get you laughing. Telling or texting your partner something ridiculous will deepen your connection. Being silly can relieve stress in a marriage and creates a constant connection and a feeling of partnership.
I will so agree with that, because what you laid over here,
Yeah.
which we're obviously not going to share today, but it did get me in a different, better mood. I mean, not that I was in a bad mood, don't get me wrong, but yeah, there was the smirk. If you're watching, it was a smirk.
Well, I don't think they had cut to you just yet. So it was, but maybe it was just my smirk.
No.
Inside jokes are okay. He is a 5-time winner of the coveted Ohio News Hawk Award. He's the 2-time Silver Sound nominee, covering every corner of the globe: London, Budapest, Rio, Tokyo, and even Litchfield. He's Sam Gormley. And the sports. Morning, Sam.
Morning, Ralph.
How you doing?
Oh, not too bad. How are you?
Not too bad. It wasn't a touchdown, was it?
No.
No. I pretty much, as soon as they saw it on the line, I was like, his toe's on the line. That's going to be Chiefs win, as much as maybe some people didn't want it. It was, and he caught it. The receiver, once he got to the sideline and saw it, he knew. He could tell by the look on his face, like, yeah, that's.
He's probably saying, "Well, why did I cut my toe, or why didn't I cut my toenails last night?" Like,
why didn't I opt for the size 10 cleats instead of the size 11 cleats? Or, he probably wears bigger cleats than that. But anyway, it was just kind of good. I just watched the end of the game. I didn't watch the whole thing. But that was okay. I was big brothering most of the evening, so that was fine. We're going to see hot and sunny before the afternoon and evening storms. We're going to see a high near 90 today, scattered afternoon storms. We'll see gorgeous weather expected Sunday with plenty of sunshine, comfortable temperatures. Highs look only to reach into the low to mid-70s on Sunday. We'll see partly cloudy and some afternoon thunderstorms, 40% chance of rain, high of 92 today. Evening storms, a low of 55 tonight. And then morning sun, afternoon clouds for tomorrow, and a high of 73. So if you're headed out to the various football games this evening, you might want to consider umbrella, poncho, etc. I guess potential delays are on the table.
Don't say that word.
I just want to at least prepare. I don't want people to show up and not prepared. I hope that's not the case. Then tomorrow, pleasant afternoon at K. Roger Field and at Choo Choo Stadium. And then on Sunday, even better. Do you like that Choo Choo Stadium?
What's Choo Choo Stadium?
Isn't that L&N? Isn't the L&N Credit Union? Isn't that for a railroad line? The L&N.
Oh, I honestly have never even put that much thought into it.
I just thought I think that's what L&N stands for. Is like a Louisville and Nashville, or some railroad line that they've built that financial institution for. So I'm just going to call it Choo Choo Stadium, because I think that's.
I actually think you're right.
That's more fun to say. A couple of national headlines. We are going to do a full Cougar Sports Report later and get you fully up to date on what to expect for tonight's contest, including how to get there, because it's one of the more interesting road trips that.
I'm not going to Marshall County though. I'm okay.
Marshall is almost more direct.
It's incredibly direct.
Skill level, right?
I mean, we got on the Parkway and pretty much drove straight. We got off, hung a left, and then the school was right there on the left. So it really wasn't but I'd almost rather drive to McLean County.
Going to Muhlenberg North High School was also easy. You just got off the parkway,
Yes.
and turned left into the parking lot, and pretty much.
So pretty much it was, and Muhlenberg
Oh,
North is now where
yeah.
Muhlenberg County is.
Sure. Hey, so a couple national headlines I want to get to really quick. The father of the Georgia school shooting suspect, they've both been arrested, and they've both had their initial court appearances this morning in an Atlanta courtroom. So that was kind of some dynamic news yesterday that the father got arrested, because even after the law enforcement had spoken with the child a year ago, after allegedly making threats that they couldn't find enough evidence to prove that it was him, they let him go. Then the dad reportedly turns around and gives him a rifle or some type of weapon for Christmas and says, "Here you go." I mean, it's probably not the type of behavior that you want to emulate. So the father has been arrested and charged with second-degree murder. So, I mean, it's not just hey, you shouldn't have given him the gun. It's an actual murder charge. And then yesterday, a sudden about-face, Hunter Biden, as they were getting ready to start a jury trial on his tax evasion case, he changed his plea, suddenly guilty plea, to avoid a trial. You know, he was convicted on that gun possession charge in, I guess, Delaware, and now he's doing tax evasion in California. So that penalty on tax evasion is could be 17 years. Of course, it won't be, but there won't be a jury trial apparently in that case. A flat tire led to a car fire in the middle of Brandenburg Road last night about 7 o'clock. The LFD and for other first responders rolled up to the 5000 block of Brandenburg Road to the vehicle on fire in the middle of the northbound lane. Central Dispatch had reported the car had a full tank of gas, and at the scene they found a Pontiac Firebird nearly fully engulfed in flames, and the male occupant was out of the vehicle and uninjured. They were able to extinguish the blaze before the flames got to the fuel tank. It's an older vehicle, but it obviously was destroyed, as you can tell. Then this morning, about a few minutes after 7, what appears to be a two-car accident on the 10,500 block of Beaver Dam Road, which is in our neighborhood, and a log truck was involved. At least it turned on its side or was damaged somehow. There's an aerial shot of that accident, and apparently another vehicle involved. We do know the driver of the log truck reportedly refused treatment at the scene, and we will have more details for you coming up when we learn more.
Did Ken just jump really high to get this picture?
He's
He
got
did.
he's got his lifts on. You know, can you see Ken? He wears his lifts sometimes.
Because, I mean, when we think of Ken Hallett, we think of height.
Absolutely, he is the epitome of height, and he's got a new jetpack actually that he's been trying out. It's just James Bond style jetpack that he throws on
That's
his back.
exactly what he needs.
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, we earlier this year we had a big milestone with the show. We rolled over 3,000 shows, and we've been at it now for, I guess, 13. We're rolling in on 13 and a half years. It is kind of odd when we talk about, we've seen, children grow up, we've seen our children get married, we've seen lots of milestones. This is the natural progression of things, but then things come full circle on the show that make you go, wow, it's been a long time. At K105.com today, there is a story about former Clarkson Elementary student, former Grayson County High School student, now Grayson County High School social studies teacher, Leanne Riggs, being the first to complete an innovative program that was an apprentice track, the K-12 education apprentice track offered by Grayson County High School through work with WKU. And so Leanne calls her job now, teaching social studies at Grayson County High School, her dream job, and she has known since the 5th grade that she wanted to be a history teacher. So I cannot look at Leanne, who is obviously a grown woman now. She is teaching at Grayson County High School.
Watches the show almost every day.
Watches the show. She and her mother, who is the official show historian, they were our invited guests to the 3,000th show. We couldn't leave them out. But I cannot think about that cute little photo of her and Cutie Pie,
Absolutely.
her pig, that were on the show in the very early I mean,
It was
show.
really early on, and her mother is the reason that I'm involved in Read Across America.
Right? Yeah.
She
it's-
had a long-term substitute teacher teaching position and needed somebody to read for the classroom, and she thought of me.
She voluntold you that you were going to do
Yes,
it.
and I've been doing it ever since. But yeah, to see her all grown up and
Yeah.
teaching.
I mean, in the Thomas kids or whether it's our kids
Yeah.
or whatever, you just kind of expect that. And you go, yeah, this is part of life. But when you see someone that you don't see every day, and when in your image you see a photograph of a young lady who was in her early elementary school years with her pet pig called Cutie Pie, and Cutie Pie is in the picture, when you have that as your memory, and then suddenly you cut forth and go, well, look at that grown-up history teacher. Like, where did time go suddenly? So anyway, it's a great story and a great interview with her, and you can read it at K105.com today. A Brett County man indicted on a homicide charge following a crash that killed a Hardin County man has reached a plea deal. In June 2022, 20-year-old Zachary Duke of McDaniels ran a stop sign while driving at excessive speeds at the intersection of North Logston and Hillcrest Drive in Radcliffe. He struck a vehicle driven by 66-year-old U.S. Army vet Wilburn Sisko of Vine Grove. Sisko died in the crash. A passenger in Sisko's vehicle was injured in the wreck. Duke was indicted by a Hardin County grand jury for reckless homicide and fourth-degree assault in November of 2023. Earlier this week, Duke reached a plea deal where he was sentenced to 5 years on the reckless homicide charge and 12 months for the fourth-degree assault. With the sentences to run concurrently, he was credited with 14 months he served and will spend the remainder of the 5-year sentence on probation. He cannot drive a car for 5 years as part of his plea. Crews are searching for a Meade County man who either fell or jumped out of a boat at the confluence of the Salt River and Ohio River at West Point. 46-year-old Derek Walker was fishing with his father and a family friend Wednesday sometime before 3 a.m. when Walker's father, while checking on the boat's lights, heard a splash. Fish and Wildlife told the media that witnesses said Walker began swimming backwards toward the southern bank of the Salt River when he went under and didn't resurface. Walker's father jumped into the water, tried to save his son, but was unable to locate him. So the search continues. Attorney General Russ Coleman, making a lot of news in the last few weeks, announced yesterday that the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit has blocked a Kentucky Registry of Election Finances opinion that would keep county political parties from spending money on non-candidate races, calling it an attempt to stop Kentuckians from expressing political opinions through local county parties. Coleman filed a brief last week arguing that the registry's opinion violated the First Amendment when it restricted local parties from spending resources in support of or opposition to the proposed constitutional amendments on Kentucky's ballots this November. He says the Sixth Circuit action blocked the registry's attempt to curtail the First Amendment and cleared the way for local parties to express political opinions. What does all that mean? Well, it means coming up in November, you've got one thing, you've got a referendum on education, basically. Do we want to do education differently in Kentucky? And the registry, I don't know the composition of the political ideology of the registry, but if it emulates in any way the governor's office or the governor is involved in it, you can imagine that the registry would be more inclined to align with the ideology of the governor, of our current governor. And when you have a supermajority in both chambers and you have unfettered ability to enact whatever legislation that you'd like, their last-ditch hope for squelching any of that is through the court system and saying, we think this might be unconstitutional. We think you might not should be allowed to do that. So I understand what they're doing, but I also understand that the court says, nah, this is political free speech, and you're not going to be able to shut that down. So at least for now, the Sixth Circuit ruling says that county parties can spend money. They can get involved in non-candidate issues. The registry was claiming that they have to be limited to candidate issues, and the Sixth Court of Appeals says no. Good news for Mark Pope yesterday. I think you're supposed to get Kentucky Kids when Kentucky Kids are available, but getting Jasper Johnson is an important get for Mark Pope, not just because he's from Kentucky, but because this is one of the few years when there are some real standouts, some real 5-stars that are available from Kentucky that are playing in Kentucky, and the fact that Mark Pope can secure them to attend school wearing the blue and white is important. Now, I will tell you that they had a little bit of a head start because both of his parents, including football standout Dennis Johnson, went to UK. They are a UK-oriented family, so it was, I won't call it a no-brainer, but he had other options. He could have gone to Alabama. He could have gone to Arkansas. You know who coaches at Arkansas. He could have gone to North Carolina. He could have gone to Louisville. So obviously some good choices, some good coaches to choose from. But he pulled a jersey out of the box yesterday that had his name on the back of a Kentucky jersey already. He's considered the number 12 overall recruit in the nation. He has been playing for Overtime Elite, which is based in Atlanta, but they're a Lexington family, of course. Sam, important get for Mark Pope.
Yeah, without question. He's a great player. But if anything else, you know, and I don't want to be the pessimist of it, but I think everyone's question, and it is warranted, is can Mark Pope recruit? And, you know, can you read too much into the fact that he got 2 kids from Kentucky who, I mean, if we're being honest too, to even go further is, I mean, heck, you could be in, I mean, Mark Pope could drive to Woodford County High School and Great Crossing and be there in 20 minutes, you know, to both of them. Now, how much of that impact of it, I don't know. I'm going to be interested to see. I'm waiting for Mark Pope to pick up the first recruit from Texas or, you know, or Florida or wherever it might be, because then that's going to be the moment where we're going to be like, okay, yep, right. He's actually going to be able to do it.
I heard MHJ express yesterday that it will be exciting and confirming when he eventually gets a top 25 recruit that does not have ties to the Commonwealth, and that will signal a different level of recruiting. But for now, until that happens, you can only do yourself harm by not getting the kids that are in your own state. And when there's a transition, that's the time that people are most likely to scatter, because they can claim, they can go, well, you know, lots of dynamics, lots of changes. Now we want to reevaluate what we're doing. The fact that these 2 young men stayed in the fold, I think, is an important first step towards securing that top 25 player that maybe wasn't already lined up or headed for Kentucky. You may be surprised, Samuel, to learn that tomorrow I am going to be cheering for the Gamecocks.
I think I know which one you're cheering for.
But does it alarm you in any way to hear that I might, on a day tomorrow, when South Carolina and Kentucky are playing one another, that I would root for Gamecocks?
Mm-hmm. Well, something tells me that you might be rooting for the Rick Burgess Gamecocks.
It is the Rick and Bill Bubba Burgess Bussy Gamecocks. The Jacksonville State Gamecocks will be playing at Choo-Choo Stadium tomorrow. So Bill Bussy, the new broadcast wing of the athletics department at Jacksonville State. So we got to be Team Jack State tomorrow. You will rarely ever hear me say go Gamecocks. But rolling into Louisville tomorrow, I just hope Jacksonville State plays well tomorrow. Should be a good game and an exciting weekend of college football. Got to get to a break. We'll come back. We'll talk high school sports in our Cougar Sports Report coming up next here on In the Know.
Owensboro Health offers compassionate care for addiction recovery. Nurse practitioner Kristen Buck provides a foundation of recovery from alcohol, opioids, and other addictive substances. With inpatient detox and outpatient medical assisted treatment, you don't have to walk alone on the road to recovery. To learn more about Owensboro Health Addiction Services in Litchfield, Kentucky, call 270-230-0212 or visit owensborohealth.org/addictionhelp.
Thinking about furthering your education? At Elizabethtown Community and Technical College, you'll get a high-quality education close to home at a cost that won't break the bank. Enjoy small class sizes with professors who take a personal interest in your success. Scholarships are still available, making our low tuition even more affordable. ECTC's Litchfield campus is now enrolling for classes that start October 21st. Call 270-259-1540. ECTC. College for the real world.
Over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house to see a coaster that's new for the entire crew, and they call it Good Gravy.
Good Gravy, the new family roller coaster at Holiday World and Splash and Safari. Twist and turn past a gigantic rolling pin, milk bottle, and more in a race to save Thanksgiving dinner. First forwards, then backwards. It's fun with a little gravy on top. Get tickets at holidayworld.com.
Free smoking! Free parking! Free sunscreen!
Hey, it's Shannon the Dude. Summertime is finally here, so whether you ride, pedal, walk, or drive, Kentuckians are reminded to follow the rules of the road as traffic increases across the state. Buckle up, put the phone down, obey the speed limit, and always travel sober. If riding a bike or a motorcycle, wear a helmet, and if walking, stay visible. Let's work together for the safety of everyone using our roadways. Be Safe, Kentucky, brought to you by Team Kentucky and the Office of Highway Safety.
Do you have an idea for a book, fiction, nonfiction, or a children's book? We can help you put it together and bring it to market at Dorrance Publishing. We have thousands of testimonials from people just like you that we've helped get their books sold in stores and online. We've even got a service called The Writer's Coach. It's perfect for people that have a book idea in their head and they just need someone to help them put it on paper. Dorrance Book Publishing has been helping people just like you who have a book idea, written or not, for over 100 years. Imagine being counted among the most famous authors in the world with your very own book. Call right now and let us help you turn a book idea into reality. It's easier than you think. You just need a little help. Call us now.
800-879-4098. 800-879-4098. 800-879-4098. That's 800-879-4098.
You don't have to attend Apple's Glow Time event to watch it. Apple plans to stream the event on its website and on YouTube starting at 10 Monday morning. The iPhone maker is expected to announce its newest product lines with AI enhancements and capabilities. OpenAI is planning to develop its own AI chips. The in-house project will use advanced processor nodes from TSMC. Insiders suggest that the ChatGPT company may seek chip design guidance from Broadcom, Marvell, or Apple. xAI just released the world's most powerful AI system. Colossus was built in just 122 days and operates on 100,000 NVIDIA processors, more than 6 times the amount that was used to train Grok 2. xAI founder Elon Musk says his company plans to double the Colossus system to 200,000 GPUs in the coming months. And NVIDIA lost nearly $300 billion in market value on Tuesday. The AI chipmaker posted the biggest one-day drop in U.S. history. This comes after the DOJ launched an antitrust investigation. Tech Report, I'm Mark Mayfield.
Today is Lazy Mom's Day. It's Barbie Doll Day, marking the 1959 introduction. It's the anniversary of the 59 introduction of Barbie. Read a Book Day. It is Bring Your Manners to Work Day. It is World Beard Day. Tomorrow is World Beard Day. Ladies go crazy. I know the ladies will lean into Beard Day tomorrow. Salami Day tomorrow. Ants Day. Star Trek Day is Sunday, Actors Day Sunday, Ampersand Day on Sunday, Pardon Day on Sunday, and Grandparents Day on Sunday. We're going to be celebrating our first Grandparents Day as grandparents coming up on Sunday, so different classification for us all of a sudden. It is also the day we say welcome to week 3 of the high school football season, and time now for our Cougar Sports Report. Cougars will be traveling to in my day, Sam, this was because McLean County was in the 12th district. It's a 3-team 12th district, Grayson County, Ohio County, McLean County, which was weird how it worked because a 3-team district just doesn't function well. But we didn't play them much in football in those eras. So there wasn't a lot of football road trips there, but we spent a lot of time. Bill Lee is credited for saying you can't get to Calhoun from Litchfield. You have to go someplace else and start, and I guess it feels like that sometimes.
Yeah, you got to go to Hartford.
Yeah, you got to go to Hartford to start your trip.
Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, I mean, and luckily going to Hartford's pretty easy. So that's at least a positive, and luckily we don't have Sorehead number 1 that lives there anymore. He doesn't live there quite yet, so we don't have to worry about, maybe a roadblock or something that he'd set up in town there. I guess he's in Beaver Dam, but still,
Absolutely.
he could set one up.
If you can dodge the Soreheads, you're well on your way. I did see in your note packet that as I set up, as we're going through our 51st season of high school football, and they have met less than 20 of those seasons. This will be the high teens matchup between the two?
18th all-time matchup. Grayson County leads the all-time series 13-4. But in Calhoun, which is a tough place to play because it is, it's not a very long bus ride, hour and 15 minutes or so, but it's a tougher trip, and the atmosphere there is fantastic. They do a really, really good job. If you're making the trip there tonight, you're very much going to enjoy. It's like going to Starkville, because there's a whole lot of cowbells. They do really good with fireworks. They have good music played during the game, so they do a really good job. But in Calhoun, Grayson County only leads the series 4-3 rather. So Grayson has dominated 9-1 in Litchfield, but 4-3 in Calhoun.
I guess I would be curious to know. You could probably, I don't know. You've probably already looked it up. How many of those matchups, the 13-4, are any of the 4 of them versus Ed Smart when he was in McLean County?
Oh gosh, that I don't know. I know one of those 4 was the last trip we made to Calhoun 2 years ago when the McLean Cougars won 22-14 in overtime. It was the only overtime game that we've had now in my 7th year here. So it's and it was a great football game. 22-14. The Orange Cougars fell on the short end of the stick that time, though.
In the mid-'80s, early to mid-'80s, and even into the late '80s, it was weird to me to go to McLean County High School because we basically were sister campuses. Our school was built about the same time their school was. Now, they don't look the same anymore because they've been modified and added on to, etc. But in the early days, when you pulled up to McLean County High School, you felt like you were pulling up to Grayson County High School because the same architectural firm, that's just the way they did it. So they were both the Cougars. They originally both had that weird floor surface. They didn't have hardwood, etc., and that's the way they did it in the 70s. So it was really just kind of odd to pull up and do that. And again, it's no longer that way, but we've kind of also had a history. I mentioned Ed Smart, but Todd Johnston coached at McLean County for a period of time. Those are at least 2 people who have had jobs in McLean County that also then came back through Grayson County. But tell me about last week, the road trip to Marshall County. No, it was a lengthy one. I guess it was a long night.
It was now you because I guess you were not able to watch any of the game, I would imagine. So
I was not.
You might have not heard that our friends in Marshall County. So I guess they heard that K105 was coming. So they decided, you know what? Let's make our press box 105 degrees inside.
I did hear some reference to a hot press box.
Hot is an understatement. They had no air conditioning in there. It was directly in the sun. It was cooler for us to go outside in the 95-degree heat. It was like walking out into air conditioning. But still, so because of that, it was really hot in the press box, which it was hotter in the press box than on the field, but it was still a hot night on the field. And some cramps happened, and Grayson County missed 2 field goals in the fourth quarter that would have put them up 11-10. You never know how it would have gone, but they missed their last one with about 30 seconds left. Evan Hasty just a little bit wide right. But again, we talked about that, I think, last week, or we talked about it last week with Sheriff Chaffins when you weren't here. Evan Hasty has been kicking footballs for 3 weeks. And he just missed a game-winning field goal that would have been good from 50. It was just wide right. And so he had no reason to hang his head at all. But it was one of those games that the Cougars should have won. They're a better football team, and I don't really know as to what it's just, and you know this sometimes in sports, that a team, they just have your number. And I think Marshall County just has the Cougars' number. So it'll be interesting to see you get a big chance for a bounce back tonight.
On a neutral field, probably a different outcome. You figured the home field advantage was worth at least the difference, the margin of victory?
I have no idea. I think that the bus ride doesn't help, But then again, you can say, okay, well, last year Grayson County was better than Marshall County, and who had to take the bus ride last season? Marshall County. So it might just be one of those things that it's just a bad matchup, but it's one that the Cougars, I hope that they've been angry all week at the way that they performed.
So through the first 2 weeks of the season, heading into week 3, I guess we're starting to at least get a glimpse of what this Cougar team is going to look like. Colby Chafin's coming off of an outstanding season last year. What he did last season, that's hard to do year over year, especially when personnel changes, etc. How is he tracking through 2 weeks?
Well, for one, as I learned here this morning, it's not just Colby Chafin's, it's birthday boy Colby Chafin's today. So it's his birthday today. So hopefully, I mean, listen, birthday's a great time to come out and have a great game. He's 17 of 24, 231 yards, 78 rushing yards as well. He's had some really good moments this year, and he's had some moments that I know you can build upon. But I think that's also what you expect from a quarterback in only his second year of starting. Last week, he was our hometown hangout MVP because I thought he did a really good job reading the defense. Grayson County runs a lot of RPOs and read options, and that's really important in making the right read, whether to hand off to Caden Hanshaw or keep it yourself. And I think he probably batted about 90% last week on those reads, which is strong for a quarterback.
So Caden Hanshaw, 260 all-purpose yards, 3 touchdowns through the season. We're a fifth of the way through. We're 20% through the season. So for both those guys, like Hanshaw is tracking at 1,250 all-purpose yards over the regular season. Same thing for Colby through the air, because we can, kind of multiply those by 5 and see how they're going. Now, district play obviously coming up, and those numbers can change. But also to put up 231 yards through the air means you got to have someone on the receiving end.
Yes, Grayson Chafin's caught 7 passes last week against Marshall County. He caught a pair against Edmondson. I know he wasn't necessarily too thrilled. He dropped a touchdown against Edmondson, and he had a good bounce-back game last week, and I'm interested. Grayson is trending in a positive direction, and I'm hoping that he can have another big game this week against the other Cougars.
Yeah, for the Cougars, Aiden Rice is a name that you're going to say a lot tonight.
Yeah, he's their starting quarterback, but it's the Aidens in the backfield. You have Aiden Bolden, who is their main running back, and I mean, just casual numbers through the first 2 games of the season, 35 carries for 416 yards, only averaging just about 12 yards a carry. I mean, just casual numbers there. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he can do something that'll help out his team tonight. 12 yards a carry. I mean, but still. So he is an incredible running back. McLean County, like always, they're going to run the football. And after they run the football, they'll run it a little bit more. But you can't only trust that they'll run the ball, because that's when they'll hit you over the top with a deep ball. And that's what makes this team very challenging to go against. And I know it's one of the hardest games for us to broadcast, because that wing tee, you never really know where that ball is going to go. So it puts a lot of emphasis on us trying to follow it as it goes along.
Yeah, when you look through, look at McLean County, their through the air numbers, their passing numbers are kind of pedestrian, but you don't have to. That's a bit misleading, because you don't have to rely upon it when your marquee back is carrying it for 12 yards a carry.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, McLean County, they're definitely, how Grayson County is angry after a matchup. McLean County had a disappointing game last week against Muhlenberg County. They ended up winning 38-32, but they were down big late in the third quarter and made the comeback to win that game. And McLean was probably, if you wanted to say favorite, they were probably favored in that game by 20. And Muhlenberg gave them everything they wanted. But also McLean they're really looking to avenge a loss in Grayson County last year, where the Orange Cougars stomped them. And I mean, you look across the last couple of years, McLean County has scored 20 points in 12 of the last 30 games. Or 12 of the last 13 games, they've scored 20-plus points in each of those games. The only time that they were not scoring 20 was Grayson County. 30-plus in 8 of the last 9 as well. So they are going to score the ball, and the Cougar offense is going to have to be ready for it.
All right, let's shift gears a little bit to some other stuff happening this week. Lady Cougar volleyball was in action. They were playing border rivals this week.
Yeah, and wow, what a tough week for them. They lose to Edmonton 3-2 on Tuesday. Each set was separated by 2 points, which is unheard of. Unheard of for having 5 sets separated by 2. I mean, none of them were even 3, which is crazy. And then last night, they lost a 5-set match to Ohio County. So just a tough week for them to go 3-2. They will host McLean County on Monday. We'll be on the call of that game, and then travel to Whitesville Trinity for their first chance to see the Lady Raiders on Tuesday.
Edmonton County, a familiar foe. Soccer last night.
Yes, so the Lady Cougar soccer team, I've not actually gotten a final from that matchup yet. They beat Edmonton last week, or I guess it's been a couple of weeks ago, 2-1, but I've not gotten a final for that yet. Marion County, they lost to them on Tuesday. They'll travel to Thomas Nelson on Monday.
Boys soccer last night was the featured game on K105 Digital Productions.
It was a great match. 1-0, Warren East won. They scored a goal early second half. Grayson County had some opportunities, but congrats to Jesus Cruz. He was our hometown hangout MVP. He just missed a goal of his own late in the match, and then he had a beautiful ball on the inside that Cougars just missed on a goal that would have tied it up, maybe with about 10 minutes left. So just missed the chance. So congrats to Jesus. He gets the hometown hangout MVP.
On the golf course, Jackson Mays and Ellie Cox both doing great things.
Yeah, I mean, Ellie Cox is a 7th grader, 8th grader. You might know more than I. She's in middle school and shoots a 40, which is great on 9 holes. I know it's in her blood of playing golf, but still, what a performance for her. Jackson Mays does what Jackson Mays does. A 1-over against Breck, and I know both teams had strong performances yesterday as well. The boys were at home, and the girls team was at Seneca Golf Course there in Louisville.
The one knock that I would give, I guess, on Ellie is that. So that's her 40 is a 9-hole score. It takes her 9 holes to get to 40. It only takes me 5 holes to get to 40. So I feel like I'm kind of got the edge.
I can do it in like 3.
I'll see her on Sunday. I'm going to tell her it only takes me 5 holes to get to 40. I don't know why it takes her 9 to get there. What about cross country, Sam?
They will be at the Storm Invitational at Hopkins County Central tomorrow morning. So good luck to them. I know I talked to Houston Brooks a little bit, I guess it was on Monday at Ducking Hunger, and he is motivated for a big season.
Cougar Conversations tonight. My honor to share with you a conversation between Mr. Phil Ashby and myself, first band director at Grayson County High School. He's there 74 through 83-84. He and I had an extended conversation earlier this week, and we will share a portion of that with you this evening, and then extended cut, deep cut tomorrow on YouTube. So if you're part of the Cougar band family, I think you'll enjoy it. Learned a lot of things I didn't know about Mr. Ashby that I'd always wondered, so it was a pleasure.
I really enjoyed his story about coming to Caneyville with the Owensboro and the advice that his roommate gave him. I'm not sure if you had known that story, if that's a story that is known by many, but it's one that I couldn't cut out of today's, but it'll be on our YouTube channel tomorrow for the full conversation.
It was a great story. It was great advice, and it changed everything. He also shared with me, and I told you yesterday, you would never be privy to our private conversation. But one thing I will share with you that he shared with me is when he came to Caneyville, he had my Aunt Kathy as a student, and he shared with me a story about my Aunt Kathy that did multiple things. It impressed me about my Aunt Kathy in a way that I didn't know before. It impressed me in a way about Mr. Ashby that I didn't know before. And then it also confirmed to me what a hard worker my papa was. And so one story from Mr. Ashby just kind of brought 3 different things together for me that were really exciting. So it's a treasure that I got out of that conversation that I wasn't going to get otherwise. Cougar football in McLean County tonight, locker room show at 6:30. Then Monday we have Lady Cougars in McLean County in volleyball. So exciting stuff going on for you tonight and into Monday. Thanks for the report, Sam. We got the water cooler question coming up. You're on In the Know.
Have you ever watched Presley's Country Theater on RFD TV? Then you've seen the Melody Hart Family Band, and you can see them live in Hodgenville this Saturday night at Joel Ray's Lincoln Jamboree. It's one of the most energetic and entertaining country music groups anywhere. See 19-year-old Dylan Massengale, who has autism and through extensive therapy has learned to talk, sing, and now even play the bass guitar. Dylan is truly a miracle on stage, and you'll hear him tell his story, encouraging everyone to never give up. Tickets to see this band in Branson are over $90, but you can see them this Saturday night in Hodgenville for only $20. But wait, it gets better. Wear your Jamboree shirt and get $7 off the admission price as the Jamboree kicks off its 70th season. For tickets, call 270-358-3545, then press option 1, or just get them at the door before the show that begins at 6:45 this Saturday night at the famous Lincoln Jamboree in Hodgenville, Kentucky. Wow, what a meal and show.
Do you have an idea for a book, fiction, nonfiction, or a children's book? We can help you put it together and bring it to market at Dorrance Publishing. We have thousands of testimonials from people just like you that we've helped get their books sold in stores and online. We've even got a service called The Writer's Coach. It's perfect for people that have a book idea in their head and they just need someone to help them put it on paper. Dorrance Book Publishing has been helping people just like you who have a book idea, written or not, for over 100 years. Imagine being counted among the most famous authors in the world with your very own book. Call right now and let us help you turn a book idea into reality. It's easier than you think. You just need a little help. Call us now.
800-879-4098. 800-879-4098. 800-879-4098. That's 800-879-4098.
K105 weather from the Wave Storm Tracking Team is brought to you by Smith Overhead Door, SOHD.info.
Twin Lakes weather. We'll see a mix of sun and clouds today with highs in the upper 80s, and for a choice few, the low 90s. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are possible for the afternoon into this evening. Now, behind these evening storms, we'll watch the clouds clearing out and temperatures falling down into the 50s. From the Wave News Storm Tracking Team, I'm meteorologist Tawana Andrew.
Did you know stop signs were yellow from the 1920s to 1950s?
Interesting.
Between the 20s and 50s, stop signs were yellow.
So, is it because they didn't have the right amount of ink, like, to make them?
I think red was a color no one liked for a long time. It was the cheapest. So that's why a lot of barns were red, because the paint was cheap. But I think stop signs were probably new in the 20s. Like, until you had cars, you didn't really need stop signs. So I think they just were yellow first as a cautionary, because we know yellow to be a sign. Look, make sure it's this sign, and that's how they got to be that way. That's my supposition anyway. Okay, you seem to agree. Good.
Yeah.
Here's the water cooler question. If you or your
I'm reading into why right now. I'm sorry. I'm
too.
I'm fascinated.
Like, I'm not actually Googling it, and I know that you are, but yeah.
I could see Sam's eyes darting back and forth. He was reading. I could tell. It's like, yeah, he's looking that up. Here's today's water cooler question. If you've not won in the last 30 days and you're 18 years of age or older, you qualify to win. You're going to text your response to 270-259-6000. We've got Holiday World tickets for you. They're, of course, open until Halloween on weekends. Got their special Halloween celebration going on. So you've got 2 tickets to Holiday World if you can solve today's water cooler question. 56% of parents say they feel overwhelmed by the amount of this. 56% of parents say they feel overwhelmed by the amount of this. 270-259-6000 is where you're going to text your answer.
So we don't get a measure on the type of parent. Okay. Right.
56% of parents say they feel overwhelmed by the amount of this. All right, new at the theater. You got to be really careful about this. I can't say it too many times, but new in the box office this week. Beetlejuice. Stop. Don't say anymore.
Beetlejuice?
Are you scared?
What?
Are you scared?
Don't do
Go
it.
ahead, Sam.
He
Are-
did it already. He's trying to test fate.
Are you?
scared?
Is that something that intrigues you?
Me?
Right, collective.
Nah,
No, he does not care at all. I've always loved Beetlejuice.
I like the historical significance of Beetlejuice, but
Because of the characters and the actors, but I love Beetlejuice. And all my girls, with the exception of the youngest, and I think maybe she has watched it without my knowing, because she kind of ratted herself out the other day, but anyhow.
the front room is also new at the theater today. So that in the main theater, the front room, kind of confusing. So be specific when you ask for a ticket to when you go there. So those are new. Also, speaking of Beetlejuice, I saw where Michael Keaton is on a mission to get his real name back. So when Michael Keaton joined SAG-AFTRA, SAG had a rule that you could not have the same stage name as other people. Well, when Michael Keaton joined SAG, Michael Douglas, yes, the Michael Douglas, was already a SAG member using the name Michael Douglas. Even though Michael Keaton's real name is Michael Douglas, on a whim, he just changed it to Keaton. So he's kind of in a way to try to get.
I'm sorry. When you say SAG, that's a
Screen Actors Guild. That's everybody knows that's what that means. George Clooney and Brad Pitt are returning for Ocean's 14, according to a report. So I don't know how that's going to go. I'm not.
So how many of the old men that I love so much are?
I don't know. They've got to get with those
Dead
two.
and gone?
Dead and gone. I don't know. But those two have to obviously come back to make it a success.
Monica's dad? Yeah.
Yeah. He's Elliot Gould, right? Yeah, that's him. And then Wicked. There's a new trailer for Wicked Part 1 out today. It comes out November the 27th. It comes out Thanksgiving weekend. Part 1. Part 2 comes out Thanksgiving weekend of next year, but a new extended trailer out today if you want to learn more about Wicked, which is coming out Thanksgiving weekend. So got to get to a break. We'll figure out who wins the water cooler question. We'll also have Point to Ponder, Pearl of Wisdom, Chart Toppers, and more coming up here on In the Know.
When a child in your home makes a poor choice, do you assume it's because of some weakness in your parenting? I do sometimes. Hi, this is Jim Daly with Focus on the Family. We parents often believe poor choices our children make are a direct result of a failure on our part. We think, if I were a better parent, my child wouldn't have done this. But parenting, it just isn't that simple. Children have their own personalities and make their own choices, and there are usually outside forces influencing our children that aren't fully in our control. So don't assume too quickly you've failed as a parent. In fact, I would encourage you to change your thinking entirely. Look at a child's poor choices as an opportunity to use your life experience to help them learn and grow. The road to adulthood is tough for young people today. In fact, an important part of raising children happens when they're allowed to learn from mistakes they make while they're at home in a safe environment. And that's where parents come in. A child's weakness can become a strength when a parent offers wisdom and knowledge. So don't get caught in the trap believing your child's mistakes are always because of poor parenting on your part. Perfection isn't the goal of effective parenting. It's about love, healthy boundaries, and helping children grow through their mistakes. For more encouragement to thrive in your parenting, visit FocusOnTheFamily.com. I'm Jim Daly.
The words you are about to hear are taken from letters sent in by members of the Trinity Debt Management Program.
Dear Trinity, today I'm making my final credit card payment.
Before I came to you, I was in a constant state of anxiety and panic, but now there is hope for my family's financial future.
Working with Trinity made me understand that I'm not alone.
You really do help people.
Your kindness will never be forgotten. Without Trinity's support, I would not have achieved my lifelong goal of becoming debt-free.
We saved a lot on interest and penalties, of course, but the reward was the gift of human kindness.
Trinity has carried me through a very difficult time in my life. You're amazing.
I used to feel so anxious and hopeless. Now I feel grace and peace.
God bless Trinity as you continue to help others become debt-free.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976. That's 1-800-990-6976.
Do you have an idea for a book, fiction, nonfiction, or a children's book? We can help you put it together and bring it to market at Dorrance Publishing. We have thousands of testimonials from people just like you that we've helped get their books sold in stores and online. We've even got a service called The Writer's Coach. It's perfect for people that have a book idea in their head and they just need someone to help them put it on paper. Dorrance Book Publishing has been helping people just like you who have a book idea, written or not, for over 100 years. Imagine being counted among the most famous authors in the world with your very own book. Call right now and let us help you turn a book idea into reality. It's easier than you think. You just need a little help. Call us now.
800-879-4098. 800-879-4098. 800-879-4098. That's 800-879-4098.
DMV's Point to Ponder for today. Am I the last one to learn that apparently cucumber helps fight bad breath? Did you know that?
I did not. I
read
know
that.
it gives me heartburn now, later in life. I think my mother would agree.
Like, how did I not know that?
But it is so, like, there's no taste.
If you want to fight bad breath, put a cucumber in your mouth. Place a slice of cucumber on the roof of your mouth, hold it there for 30 seconds, then chew and swallow, and your bad breath will be history. I felt like this was something I should have known before this age. So, Sam, you're puzzled by that?
Yeah,
You think
I don't
you
know.
Believe it? Okay. Also, yesterday, I didn't mention it during birthdays. I texted the judge executive yesterday afternoon, and I said, I'm only 53. And he said, I was 53 yesterday. And I said, yeah, but you barely remember it. So we went through that. There's a period of time where we're the same age, but for the next 10 months, he's older than I am. So happy birthday to him. The water cooler question. 56% of parents say they feel overwhelmed by the amount of this. What is it? Did you have anything?
I mean, homework is easy.
Yeah. Homework would be a logical answer.
Well, but I think choosing clothes every morning, if you don't do it the night before, I think choosing clothes.
Back to school events, back to school like shopping and all of the stuff that goes into back to school. There's too much of it.
There is a lot of that stuff, especially you got multiple kids, multiple back to school nights,
and then you got open
multiple
house and
orientations, yeah. The correct answer: email from their kid's school, and I'm going to put Remind in the category. Like,
That's
you know,
close.
the Remind app, so you get all the notifications. So all the things that are coming up, they used to come in the form of notes or one sheets, and some of them still do. But now you got the added electronic form of communication, and 56% of parents feel overwhelmed by the amount of that.
Well, I can tell you that I'm not in that percentage.
You appreciate the information?
Absolutely do.
No,
even if it's duplicate, please send it.
in the Remind thing, can you all have like conversations in that, like as a group chat?
Yes,
okay.
we can.
Because I know I was talking to somebody who is in a similar thing, and they mentioned that it gets annoying because the parents sometimes like to have their own conversations in the.
Well, they do.
Where are you going to dinner tonight?
Well, but you can choose to have a conversation with just the teacher. And so, like, for me, I can choose to include Carla in ours. So it's a three-person conversation. Remind is actually, I think, a very good tool.
You can have your own sidebar that doesn't annoy other people. It has apparently some options in there, but I'm with you, Sam. That's why I poo-poo the idea of the group message. because there's some real etiquette that has to be followed.
Well, and some people don't know that if they comment there, that it's
To everyone.
everybody sees their comments, right?
yeah.
I mean, they're learning too.
Yeah, it helps. But I will tell you that the group message has changed a little bit, because when you have pictures of your grandson to share with like your parents, you don't want to send them to one of his great grandparents, because then you think, well, then that the other great grandparent doesn't have them to show to people that they come into contact with. So it's like having multiple pictures in their wallets. So I've been more, but then there's still everybody gets a single response. You don't get multiple responses. You get a single one.
How many pictures of Brady do you have in your phone?
Let's see. He's 4 months old, and I'll say 125.
Okay. I was gonna say I was gonna imagine it was getting up there. I'll be interested by the time he's 5 years old how many you have.
You think it's more than 125? It is more than 125.
It
Just
is, honey.
now,
It is.
if you count the ones that we've taken, when we visit, yeah, it's more than that. Sorry.
Oh yeah, you count them all.
56% of parents said it was email from their kid's school, and we had a lot of interest, and I didn't get to scroll through all of them. Sam, did you have the correct answer?
Doesn't look like anybody came up with that. I mean, you had some guesses like stress, yup, laundry, yup, bills,
100%.
yup.
Yeah.
So,
All those.
yeah.
On TV tonight, whose line is it anyway? Then you get more NFL football tonight. The Packers at the Eagles. You will get Tulsa King on Sunday night, and then the Sunday night game. There's a whole bunch of NFL games. The Titans go to Chicago. The Bengals host who?
New England.
The Patriots, that's right. And then the Sunday night game, the Rams at Detroit. So L.A. at Detroit on Sunday night. The highlight in history for today, this date in 1901, President McKinley was shot and mortally wounded by an anarchist. Princess Diana's funeral was held this date in 1997. Birthdays today, David Allan Coe is 85, Jane Curtin is 77, Jeff Foxworthy is 66, Chris Christie is 62, Mark Chestnut is 61, Rosie Perez is 60, Macy Gray is 57, Idris Elba is 52, and Foxy Brown is 46.
Oh,
The-
Foxy Brown.
The Marquis de Lafayette was born in 1757, Joseph P. Kennedy in 1888, and Mel McDaniel was born in 1942. If you get down the fiddle and you get down the bow, you kick off your shoes and throw them on the floor, dance in the middle of the morning light, Louisiana Saturday night. That's pretty close.
You got
to
it.
it.
No,
I
that was exactly
I think I
it.
got close. You're pretty close. I don't know all the words to the Kalin Twins and When from 1958. They can snap though. If you look up this video, they can really snap. I mean, they just snap, snapping,
You know,
snap,
yeah,
snapping,
snapping, whistling, yeah, all the same.
Which is better, snapping or whistling?
I will take snapping.
I assume that you would.
Every time.
Falsettoing.
1967, Diana Ross. Falsetto is like snapping and whistling put together.
Mhm.
Reflections, 1967. Okay, let's go to 1976. England Dan and John Ford Coley, #1. I'd really love to see you tonight. So I got to talk with Mr. Ashby about songs that his pet band played that I remember from being a kid, and this was one of them. When Will I See You Again by the 3 Degrees was one. In the Stone is one, and then Ides of March Vehicle, which is the best pet band song ever. Well,
There
one of
is
the best.
only one reason that I should know this.
Record
and-
player?
Yes. And my mom's listening, so she probably could verify.
It might have been her record.
Did you?
I don't know.
Did you try to push him to Devil Went Down to Georgia and see? I mean, he's got a lot of power with the bells. Maybe he
That's
could.
true. I mean, he's Aaron's mentor specifically. He talks about
Uh-huh.
that in our conversation, which you will at least get to hear that part tomorrow. I'd say he could. I guess I've got a pathway now to
Mhm.
put in enough pressure on them to add that.
Mhm.
But I did come up with the line: "Band directors don't retire; they just consult."
He liked that.
And that's what he does now. Yeah, he said, "Yeah, that's pretty much what we do." 1985, Huey Lewis in the News, #1, "The Power of Love."
Goodness.
It's a curious thing. Make a one man weep, make another man sing. Change your heart to a little white dove.
All right, let's go to 1994. John Mellencamp, "Wild Night," #1.
Wow.
Crazy in Love, Beyonce in 03. Lights, Ellie Goulding in 2012. Olivia Rodrigo, Good For You, number one in 2021. MB's Pearl of Wisdom for today is the best way to cheer yourself is to cheer someone else up. The best way to cheer yourself is to cheer someone else up. MB's Pearl of Wisdom for today. Remember, God loves you, and I do too. If you don't know Jesus, let me know, and I'll introduce you. Look forward to seeing you back here on Monday for another edition of our show. For Sam Gormley, for Beej, I'm MB, and now you're in the know.
Powering through the Twin